Well, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a form of autism, when I was 10. So I've had it all the way from year 5. And although I feel really glad and lucky to have it, and I look upon it as a positive, there has been quite a number of challenges, especially at school. So for instance, in my primary school, a lot of the teachers didn't really understand or know about it. And then when I went to secondary school, I went to a school that had a lot of people who had autism. And there were a lot of specialist teachers there who really understood the condition. But I still had a few problems with the school uniform and with the homework. But the school uniform was probably one of my biggest problems because I like to wear bright and colourful clothes.
Yeah, well, I can see from what you're wearing now. So is that one way how you express yourself and embrace it then?
It is, I think. It's something I've always done. I've always been bright and colourful. And I think it brings out my personality as well, sort of cheery and quirky. But when I was at school and had to wear school uniform, because it was a lot of dark colours, dark greys and dark blues, I felt like I was hiding my personality, and I always felt quite sad going into school.
Okay. And so obviously now you've got your orange frames. Do you always dress this brightly?
I always dress like this. I'm always bright and colourful in whatever I do, whether that be golf, college, walking down the high street.
And so you use colourful clothing as a way of embracing it.
Yeah.
How do other people deal with living with autism?
Well, I think there's a lot of everyone with autism is different in their own way, and there's a lot of things that typically people with autism would find difficult. So they find that they're quite sensitive to smells and touch and taste and senses, and we all like to have a routine. So we like to know what's happening when. And for instance, our bedrooms can be like immaculate. We know where everything is, and also we always have a subject that we're really obsessed with. So for me, it's football's my whole life, and for a lot of my friends, I've got friends who are obsessed with things like trains, motorways, and even I've got a friend who's obsessed with bins, which is quite a unique thing. But there's a lot of different things. I mean, sort of we find it hard to read people's verbal and communication, so whether that be non-verbal or verbal.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of the things that people say, we can take literally. So for instance, things like a piece of cake, we're sitting there thinking, well, where's the cake?
Yeah.
So we find that quite difficult as well.
I mean, you said you were diagnosed at the age of 10. Did you always know that you're a bit different?
Well, I've always had it since I was born,
Yeah.
because it's not something that you sort of develop. It's something that's always
Yeah.
there. But I think certainly as I got older, my parents more than anything noticed that I was quite different in a number of ways. And I think through my schooling, I didn't really always fit in school, and I was quite sad sometimes at school. I just needed that extra bit of help to progress me to where I am today. You don't know what's going to happen when you go into a new environment. How are people going to react to how you dress? But from my own personal experiences, everyone's reacted quite positively and been quite friendly towards me and how I dress. And a lot of my teachers from my secondary school were always like, oh, I wonder what he's going to dress in today, and were quite pleased and quite brightened by what I wear.
Brilliant. Well, obviously not just what you wear, but what you do as well. You're an aspiring TV presenter, and I know that you did do an audition for Top Gear, didn't you? Can you tell me about that?
Well, my mum actually found it online, and I thought, what a fantastic opportunity to be on Top Gear as an aspiring presenter. It would have been a fantastic opportunity. So the next day I was going to my granddad's. So I filmed it in his garden in, again, my bright clothes, in fact, in this shirt actually. So I did that, and then I just sent it off, and the feedback was fantastic.
Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. I didn't hear anything from them personally, but I was in local newspapers and national newspapers and on BBC radio. So
fantastic. Well, it was worth a go, and I know within the audition you talk about 2 special cars that you've got. What colours are they? Orange and pink?
One's an orange Triumph Herald and one's a pink Triumph Herald, and they're my granddad's cars, but hopefully one day he'll pass them down to me.
I mean, well, when you do pass your test, that'll be great to drive around in those.
Definitely,
wouldn't it?
everyone will know when I'm coming around the corner. So.
And so yes, you are learning to drive, and I know you were talking as well about you thinking about doing something with talking about people learning to drive who have autism or Asperger's. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I think with driving, I think there's a lot of challenges that people with autism face. So, like the autistic gardener that they did on Channel 4, I was thinking of doing a show sort of for the autistic driver. So talking about the challenges and difficulties that people with autism have, and also the benefits that it can bring having autism when driving. So,
I mean, where did your passion for TV presenting come from, do you think?
I think it all stemmed from, I wanted to do a job that was unique and individual, and I didn't want to follow the trend in terms of going into a job, a normal 9-to-5 job, and I thought TV presenting was something that I can express myself, express my personality, dress brightly and colourfully. And I just thought it would be a brilliant opportunity for me to get out and explore different places in the world. And
you've got your own YouTube channel.
Yes.
What are you working on at the moment? What's your next video going to be?
My next video is actually going to be another, I do football guides on football grounds and football shirts. So my next video will be a video on a recent football ground I've visited.
Okay.
One of the ones in London.
Can you tell us which one, or is it a surprise?
Queen's Park Rangers.
Queen's Park Rangers,
Queen's Park
okay.
Rangers.
And who do you support?
Funnily enough, I support 3 different clubs.
Oh, God, okay.
Birmingham, Swansea and Burton Albion.
So I'm guessing you've already been to those?
Yes, I've been to them a number of times. So.
Okay, and I know as well, not just football, I mean, you have a lot of interests. You did a recent Wacky tour of Stratford-upon-Avon. I mean, it's slightly different, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I was going to take my video camera with me to Stratford because I didn't want to leave it in the car.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not do something with it whilst I'm here? So I thought about filming a wacky guide, and not just an everyday guide, here's a pub, here's a shop. I thought about doing it differently. So my own spin on the hidden gems that Stratford has to offer that people might not realise that we're actually there to explore.
Yeah. And just finally, before we go, it is National Autism Awareness Week. How important is it to raise awareness?
I think it's really important. I mean, recently there's been a lot more awareness of the condition of autism than there used to be. But I think just learning about how individuals cope with it and how their families cope with it and what it means to have autism and the different things that people do and have with autism, I think it's really important to know. Just be more aware of the condition, really.